What up, everybody? It's another episode of Fast and Curious. I am joined today with Dan Peterson, CEO and founder of Granite Slopes, claim to fame. He signed up for a solutions partner in March 2024, and 1 month later, hitting gold, already halfway to plat. Definition of Fast and Curious. Dan, thank you for chatting with us about your experience, man.
Thanks for having me.
Man, I like talking to young blood and experience, like as if, what does that even mean? How did you become I'm gonna sign up and become a HubSpot solutions provider? I love hearing these journeys because they're often not linear. Where did you start? How did you hear about HubSpot? Lead me on this journey.
Yeah, the short version, I have no idea. Long story. So before I got into the HubSpot realm, I was actually in the manufacturing and ERPs, right? I know you're familiar with this. You've worked with Dynamics. I was in Business Central, working in Oracle, right? Totally different world. Fast forward through the years of that and my time in being a veteran, right, and working in manufacturing, I got hit up by another partner and they said, hey, I want your experience and we want to bring you the leadership and process experience you have and help grow our company. And that's where I really got introduced to HubSpot. And man, the differences in those softwares, I felt like I was living under a rock completely. I was like, what is this CRM and what is this customer platform compared to all of the gaps I've been facing as an ERP? And it was just like a whole new experience. And I fell in love with it immediately. How it connected teams, how it automated processes, the sequence, everything that an ERP was missing to connect teams was just all magically fulfilled with HubSpot. And I immediately fell in love with it.
There's something to be said here. You're just getting lots of nuggets. I'm going to try to pull them out.
Yeah.
Number one, if you have ever been in manufacturing, they are about 10 years behind in software in general. And if you heard what Jane just said, ERPs, which because there's so many light items and there's like warehouse items and you have to know what inventory is, most ERPs are actually used as CRMs in manufacturing. And it is actually a great place to specialize in.
Mm-hmm. And it's fun, but then you found something like HubSpot that aligns your marketing with your sales and all that, and combined with an ERP, and it just, again, whole new process.
Yeah, hold on. That's number one. Number two, you said timeline-wise. You said something about being a veteran, so let's this is non-traditional, and I say this because I don't find many people that were in the military. I used to be in the military. How long were you in, and then what led you to be and work in ERPs?
Yes, I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years. I was an infantry Marine, just bottom of the rung. Started as a private, holding the rifle, questioning what is life, what am I even, to 8 or 9 years later with a little more seniority. But through my networks in the Marine Corps and through just job experience and just the times that I had, I ended up working for some firearms manufacturers, firearms and ammunition manufacturers, and that's where I really came into the realm and stepped into that. And then, like I said, elongating that process is working through manufacturing and working through my software connections, ran into HubSpot and ran into working with a partner, and that's where I am now.
Got it. How long were you got out of the military? You were there for 8 years. In between military and working at a firearms manufacturer, but a manufacturer, how long? And then working for the part, like how did this, give me some time.
Yeah, again, so the eight-ish years in the Marine Corps, I was in the reserves. I did deploy a couple of times, but I was a reservist. But yeah, when I wasn't deployed, I was working full-time. So I have about 6 years in manufacturing, some other sales software experience, but it was mostly in manufacturing between that time. So up until this point.
So if anybody I used to be a Microsoft Dynamics admin and a Salesforce admin. One of the things Microsoft Dynamics, the thing there is the best piece of marketing automation platform that exists. It's called Click Dimension. And if you've done... So that is the best platform. If you have Dynamics and you're not using Click Dimension, you're using 365, it is awful. So you have to use Click Dimension. And if you come from a Dynamics Click Dimension world into HubSpot, like your mind gets blown.
Yeah, it's very rudimentary. We'll call it that. Yeah.
Okay. So you found HubSpot. How quickly from finding HubSpot did you end up starting your own, I'm going to call it consultancy, because I no longer call things agencies. I don't know. Just as a point. You started your business consultancy. How long did that process take? And what made you say, I want to do this as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it was about 2 years. So as far as being a HubSpotter, still young, still very young HubSpotter, 2.5 years, give or take. What kind of made that leap is I was working for a partner at the time and loved it there. The team, the people, everyone there, the leadership there was great. But it scaled a little too fast and unfortunately layoffs happened. And I went from being the chief of staff at that company to out of a job and had our mortgage and everything on the way. And I was like, what am I going to do? Spent about a week on LinkedIn and Indeed. And I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I invested so much of myself into learning this, and now I'm back at square one. And at that point, I was like, I need to stop betting on other people and I need to bet on myself. And there was other people in this realm that had also been laid off, and other people that I'd met in this ecosystem that were just so talented. And I said, you know what? Let's make something together. I want to grab these people, bring them onto the team, and start Granite Slopes. And that's where we are now. We started on Halloween, and we're still very new. It's May at this point, and we're chugging along.
So y'all been in existence then for 6 months.
Yeah.
And you've been a solutions partner for now 2 months.
Yeah, and we started as a provider back on Halloween, bottom of the tier provider. We went from provider to partner within that time, and then partner to gold partner within this month and a half, 2 months span.
Yeah.
So
Congrats.
it's growing pains, but we're there.
Yeah, and there's different growing pains depending on where you are, and the pains never stop. They just change in intensity and how often they happen and what they are. I don't know. It's just like regular life. Like your pains don't stop. So you're now a gold partner. Talk to me about what that means for you, because it's different depending on what your services are and how you're structured. What does that mean for you? For how are you approaching like number of employees, revenue right now? Like how are you thinking about that? What is your current setup? Are you doing contracts, FTEs? Do you have a partner? Just it's always different. I think it's really interesting as you grow.
Yeah, so I'll start where we are as a business and what we focus on and what that tier means to us. As a business, no, we're not millionaires yet, right? We're not bringing in the rakes. That's not important to us at the moment, though, right? Right now, it's creating the relationships. And where we are as a tier, I don't view our tier gold, platinum, diamond as a point system like you normally would and how other partners measure it. I use it as a metric to measure a kind of a bigger picture for us and how we're creating relationships and what we mean to our clients. And that is one small metric to that total picture, along with some other things. So it's great that we're gold, but that doesn't mean everything to me. What we focus on, we're really niching down because of my past experience in manufacturing. We're working with other manufacturing partners. We're working with robotics companies. We're working with B2B technology. Mostly because when I started this, I was like, wow, looking at where I am now as a HubSpot partner and what rock I was living under in the manufacturing world when it comes to technology, I was like, there is so much I can help the companies that I know and the companies that I resonate with to grow with this tool.
Did you start with a partner, or do you have a full-time employee that's working? How are you thinking about labor right now?
Yeah, it started as just me as a provider. I've brought on some other people. We have a developer. So there's 3 of us, or 4 of us, excuse me. I hold up 4 and say 3. So I've got a developer, I've got an admin, I've got myself and a sales guy. That's where we're at right now. And we're just trying to be nimble and pretty much just hit the ground running. Very guerrilla style right now. And I think we want to stick with that because it's working really well. But yeah, we're really focused on selling into and providing and servicing those niches, that manufacturing, that technology, because that's what we're good at. So we're really just trying to penetrate and service those people first before we decide anything else. We're taking it a little slower, being really deliberate about it, though. I think that's a part of niching, right? And I want to grow right, not just grow. No.
I talk to a lot of solutions partners, either because I'm talking to them about maybe 500 plus I've talked to at this point, and then I hit here. The fact you're niching so quickly is incredible, period.
Thank you.
Okay, just in general. So let's talk about there's 6 months in. I love talking to people in different portions of the journey, and I want you back on here when you hit platinum, when you hit diamond.
I love that.
The problems change. What are the initial, think about like your 3 top, and you may have more than this, 3 to 5. What are your 3 to 5 initial challenges that you had to overcome in order to be successful? Here, then we'll talk about what do you need now, what are your current problems? What are the 3 things or 5 things that you had to do?
Yeah, the first one was funding, right? We're not backed by an investor. We're bootstrapping it. It's just me, right? Not taking a salary. We're putting everything back into this business. So that was the first part, right? Is doing a lot with so little and finding and being nimble and being doing guerrilla warfare in a sense around that. It was hard, right, at the start. And luckily we've dug out of that. But yeah, that was really difficult. Remind me your second thing. You said just top 3 things, right?
Yeah, top 3 initial challenges that you had to face and what you did to overcome them.
Yeah, the second thing, and being an operations person, right? I'm not a sales guy. I'm not a marketer. I'm deep in operations. So one thing that I really had a hard time at the beginning was just not getting sucked into analysis paralysis, right? Like making every process so refined and perfect, because that you'll get stuck and you'll kill your business right there. Sometimes I had to teach myself to wing it, and that was the second thing. And the third thing was Also, having some type of process, but not rushing it, because that'll ultimately kill you too. You go through too fast, you don't perfect, what you know at the moment or what you can do with what you have, and you just get sloppy, and that'll kill you too. So just finding between all those three things, just finding that right balance.
Yeah, I'm gonna repeat what I heard. I think there's this.
Yeah.
Let me dig into a few of these. Number one is I'm gonna say it differently. Is in starting a business, you have to burn the ships, and some that will always mean in every instance that means sacrifice and risk and fear. And what I heard you say is, I put everything back into the business with the hope that it will give dividends afterwards.
Yes, absolutely.
Which means I'm going to translate. What I heard is I took my savings and I invested it and didn't pay myself much money.
Yeah. And as a veteran, especially a Marine Corps veteran, like getting screamed at, being around explosives, there's no new anxiety than that, man. That was all like a whole beast that was unleashed. And I was like, what am I going to do here?
Yeah.
But
I just think there is something so powerful. And I think and it's this, even if it doesn't work, there's something so powerful about saying, I want to say this, giving yourself the opportunity to fail and just execution. And I love you're going in it, you're doing it. And I've asked the question because I think it's helpful. Have you, and you're 6 months in, just because some people are listening to this right now, should I start my own place? You're 6 months in. Are you eating food again? Is the sacrifice still the same level of pain?
I had ground beef for the first time in years. No, I'm just kidding. No, we've been doing all right. But yeah, there was times it's, hey, you got to balance the bills. You got to take risks. Be careful, but at the same time, don't limit yourself. If you're gonna make that decision and say, hey, I'm gonna put all of myself into this, commit. Right? Obviously, don't get stupid with your money, but be deliberate with your actions. Right? Don't.
Yeah.
I would rather fail today and say I exhausted all of what this business made and all of the options and everything I tried and failed, than maybe put half of myself into it and made a few bucks and said, oh, but I didn't try this. So I'd rather fail knowing I did everything I could.
Yeah, I just love this. I don't get to talk because I'm often talking to like these elite partners already. I love this because we forget it's this. Sometimes in order to succeed, you must remove exit hatches. You must lock yourself in, and there's just all in. That's why I call burn the ships.
Yeah.
And it forces you. Scarcity forces innovation. I think and that's this process you're going through. So number 2 and number 3, and they're related, is don't get stuck in paralysis or analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Make decision, hard commit, and then pivot. Make decision, hard commit, pivot. To use a military term, it would be fire, aim.
Yeah. There you go.
Fire, aim. And there's constant this readjusting, right? Fire, aim versus aim, fire. And you actually start with the firing, which is the weird part.
Yeah. And I would say, right, I'm contrarian in the idea that it's okay to pivot and switch your ideas and your thoughts and your methodologies if it's going to benefit yourself. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but right, that kind of comes part with the analysis paralysis of, hey, I got to make sure our documentation's right. I got to make sure our internal processes are right. There's a point, especially as a startup, that if you spend too much time overdoing it, it is going to hurt you. It is. Especially when you're small, as nimble as we are, right? There's 4 of us.
And this third one I like because it teaches the second one is, and I just got done talking to my team about this, is do it. And I'm gonna summarize this way. Do it until it's painful. Don't scale something until it is painful.
Yes. That includes, right, like do the Excel if you have to, right? Do the minimal software. Don't go buy something if you haven't repeated this process or this, what this software does 10, 15 times at least, and it's going to be beneficial. Be cognitive. Be cerebral about it.
Yeah, I talk a lot of people, we talk about super, is there's sometimes when hey, you don't have enough methodology, you haven't thought about this enough, this product is not ready for you to use. Now we can force it, and I can tell you it's okay, but you'd be trusting me, or you need to go out and figure it out.
Yeah.
So there's something there.
A little bit of both is good, but again, timing. Timing is very important. Timing. So.
I think both these are burn the ships, make decisions quick, pivot, And number 3 is do it until it's painful. I think there's like good things to take out. What are 3 things, now having gone through this, you're talking to yourself, your past self 6 months ago, what would you say, hey, Dan, don't do that again?
You know what? This kind of comes part into rushing, but another aspect is I didn't rush into niching sooner. As a provider, I was still questioning, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to execute my vision as this business if I even grow, right? When luckily we've made it to the point of growth. There was a part where I was like, hey, I don't know how to provide my messaging, so let's just go shotgun. And it went so bad. I was like, okay, this isn't going well. I'm losing opportunities. I'm making mistakes, what do I need to do here? And funny enough, that's about the same time I found you guys and, through you guys' surround bound methodology. And I was like, niching, hey, that makes sense. So I was like, what am I good at? Who do I know? And it was, manufacturing technology, these industrial companies. I was like, I need to go help who I know isn't being helped enough. And that's where we decided to niche down. And I wish I would have done that much, much sooner, because that first 2 or 3 months as a provider hurt. And it hurt bad.
Dan, I love hearing. I don't know. I think you've niched down so quick. Mm-hmm. Every single person I have talked to has said the same thing, like niche faster. And there's this. I love shotguns. I love the shotgun methodology. But I like to say, it's actually when you niche, when you don't have a consolidated messaging, you're actually I would think of it. You're trying to shoot something with a bad scope, and there's literally impossible to hit the bullseye. What niching does is actually gives you a shotgun, puts you right in front of a tree full of birds, and you go, and you blow it, and you see all these birds come up, and you're like, oh, okay, it gives you instant feedback, and then you can pivot. Exactly. And
that's what I wish we did earlier. One thing I wish we'd never do again, to answer your question. This really comes now that we've hit a growth point where we're hiring people and creating processes, is not rushing those processes. There's a reason you have those in place, and you need to be deliberate with them and make sure that they have deliberation themselves. So what does that mean? And I'll give you an example of context, and this is a mistake I made. We hit that point where I was the everything hat. I'm the HR guy, I'm the accountant, right? I'm the sales guy, I'm training the operations team, I'm training the sales guy. I'm everything in the moment, and we hit that point where I was the bottleneck, and I'm like, we just got to go find somebody. So we started hiring, and I found a salesperson, and she checked all the boxes: great personality, great skills, but the problem is I rushed my hiring process because I felt like I had a need, and we paid for it. It was not a good fit whatsoever. That person's a great person, but I made that mistake because I rushed it. Didn't have good expectations set in place. I actually made a LinkedIn post about that, about having your processes for people and in place before you go grow, because if you don't have those things in place for them to come succeed, you're the failure. And that's something I learned very quickly, and I paid for it. Really take time once you have those processes in place and be deliberate about them and make sure that you're succeeding and executing those the right way. Yeah, so I'll never do that again. That hurt my feelings.
And it's more than a financial hurt. There's an emotional, soul level hurt when that happens too, because people trust you. They sometimes leave something. Is it a deep pain here?
It is, and it hurts because it's not just where you're like, hey, was this person a right fit, but what did I do to ruin this process? Or what did I do to the internal of my company? What bell did I just ring that really resonated with me in a negative way? Yeah, from that moment on, I was like, yep, we need to be very deliberate in how we do that. And that doesn't just carry around hiring. That carries around how you're delivering your services to your client, how you're selling to them, what your messaging is. Be very deliberate. And that also comes into niching down, right? But just niche down as much as you can in everything that you do and make it like sniper fire. That's really the big thing I could take away from it.
Yes, have scopes that works and have sniper fire. Pick them off. Question: as we think about the rest of 2024, going into 2025, what's the big bet that you're making? Like the thing you have a hypothesis about that you're not sure is right, but you think it is.
Yeah, and you can actually see this trend happening. And a lot of other partners I've heard through other people on your podcast here, Fast and Furious, and other partners in their posts have been talking about, right? HubSpot is scaling. They're scaling. They want to really attack those enterprise level mid-market. They want to grow up. I'm betting on the opposite, and you can see that they're doing this. I hope they keep investing in this SMB and lower-end mid-market companies. You can see it. Look at their pricing model that they just changed. Look at some of the tools they're giving access to. They're opening up for SMB, and I'm betting on that because the people that we work with now, I want to get them in and help them grow to where they are now. And if HubSpot's going to help us do that, I'm all in.
Dharmesh has made this very public. It's a part of his, what he would call his, when people zig or use zag or zag and zig, it's like the bet. And they're saying, which is against logic, is we're going to both win SMB and we're going to win mid-market good enterprise. And you're right. You look at this, they're actually creating models that help you do both. It's cheaper to buy for small businesses now with the pricing model. It's cheaper.
Yeah. And it's
not
easier
more
for them once they're in there to scale to something that is more successful as they grow as a company and stay in this one place. And I love that.
Yeah. Dan, if people want to chat about with you, or if there's other people that are like, hey, I'm just thinking about things you're thinking about, would love to talk to you. How would people get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can book us on our website. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm super active on LinkedIn. That'd probably be the best way. Hop on my website, give me a call. My phone number's there too.
Love it. Dan, appreciate you for coming fast and furious and sharing where you're at on the journey today.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me. And hopefully, if we do this again, a year or two from now, it's a very different picture. I'm excited to see where we go.
Granite Slopes, the next generation of elite partners. I love it. Hey, everybody. Appreciate y'all for joining us today.
Thanks.
Stay awesome. Keep doing it big. Never stop believing. Adios, everybody.